What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another London POV. In today's video we're going to be hitting some of London's most iconic spots in the midday sun. Personally, I find it quite difficult shooting in these conditions, so this summer that's one thing that I've challenged myself to, and that is to get out more in the sun and experiment with harsh light and shadows and step out of my comfort zone a little more. So we're kicking things off around St Paul's and Millennium Bridge, just experimenting with the leading lines of these stairs and the rails going up towards St Paul's and capturing the shadows that are falling quite nicely on the stairs with people coming up and down. Next up, we moved over towards Bank, and here I managed to get some of my favourite shots from the walk, and they're of this couple here sat on the bench. I just loved the way that they were chilling, watching the world go by as literally London was passing them by. You got people whizzing past him on bikes, there was taxis flying by, there was buses flying by, and they were just relaxing, spending time together, and it was such a wonderful moment to capture. As always, I'm shooting with my trusty Fujifilm X-S10, and most of this video is shot on the Fuji 35mm f2. I did use the 18-55mm kit lens for a few shots that weren't on that, and I've added the focal length to the image overlays in case you're interested. Do you find it difficult shooting in harsh light, or what's your favourite time of day to shoot? Let me know in the comments below. As I touched on before, with this being around midday, there was some really cool harsh shadows being cast, creating some really interesting framing opportunities through the hotspots of light, the shadows cast by the buildings, the bollards, the lampposts, even the railings around the tube stops and such. But there was this frame that we're walking towards now. It's one that I've wanted to capture for a while, and it's in the entrance to the tube stop, and you get this really interesting frame of light cast across the stairs and the wall. And what I was doing, I was trying to wait for a subject to come through and cast some shadows onto that wall. Initially I felt like I was waiting here for forever, but nobody came through, so I've got a couple of test shots just trying to check my framing, with the view of coming back a little bit later when the tube stop was a little bit more active. So I'm going to come back here in a little bit and get a few more shots. When walking around it's always interesting to find these like lingering leftovers from the previous night before, and you often wonder what the story of how it was ended up left there, and just the way that light was catching those two, well, the bottle and the ice cream, it was just an interesting combination. As I was walking up here, I noticed this pocket of light sitting on the wall, and I wanted to try and use it to capture some subjects walking through, getting that really harsh kind of light behind them, with them in almost like a silhouette, but you get this kind of catch light across them as they're walking through.
How are you going to swim tomorrow, like 1500 meters or 50?
So now I'm just heading back towards that tube stop in the hopes that there's some people coming through, and I felt lucky here, and as I got back there was just some people coming off. And you can see here it creates a really nice frame as you're capturing the shadows or that kind of halo effect that's created from the really harsh light coming through the other entrance, creating some really nice shots in my opinion.
Stone column building on Mansion House Street. Follow the road to the left and right, yellow stone building. Number 1 contract.
Oh, so good, don't worry.
You can have one of us if you want. I'll break your camera.
I absolutely love the interactions you get with people when you're out and about with a camera. It's very rarely a bad interaction, and people are often more interested about what you're doing than anything else. So you often end up having a little bit of banter with some people, a bit of a laugh and a giggle, and it's quite nice. Next up, we've made our way over towards Big Ben, and round here it was actually really busy, obviously because it's quite a popular tourist hotspot. There was a lot of people around capturing pictures. The marathon was on, or I think it was a week before the marathon. So yeah, there was a lot going on around here, especially when you compare it to how quiet it was around Bank. So yeah, these are some of the shots that I was using my 18-55 for. As I mentioned before, the focal length that I was using at the time is going to be included in the overlays. Here I'm just trying to find some nice, interesting frames of Big Ben, and I thought I'd use the railings that were here to kind of create this interesting frame from top to bottom, but also capturing this couple that were just watching the world go by.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good, don't worry.
Wait, my head.
See, and it just goes to show, as I was mentioning before, often people are so lovely in these environments, and just being mindful about your surroundings, being mindful about what you're doing, and just communicate. I really like the way these next shots turned out. I was trying to find some framing there using the railings to the tube stop, but then I noticed this guy was taking some pictures of Big Ben, and often photos of people interacting or going about their day-to-day tell a really interesting story to me. So here I'm just trying to capture some of the shots of him capturing Big Ben, but also a different perspective and a different focus, with the focus being on him taking the photo versus the photo of actually taking Big Ben. And in the one where the focus was on him and Big Ben was a little bit blurred out, the thing that I like about shots like that is you can still tell it's Big Ben, but you're not being over the top and overly obvious that that's what you're taking the photo of. So it shifts your focus, or it shifts the viewer's focus to focus on something else, but then when they actually explore the image, they're able to tell that it's clearly an identifiable building. And for this final part of the video, we're heading towards, I think this staircase is on, I think it's London Bridge, and we're just making our way down towards the bottom. I've been here before in one of my previous videos, and I've got some of my favourite shots that I've ever got from here. So I wanted to see what it'd be like in the harsh midday sun. and just trying to see how it vibes in this kind of environment. You can see as we're coming down how harsh the shadows are actually sitting on the staircase from the railings. So when I make my way down to the bottom, it's really interesting the captures that you can get and that play between the harsh shadows or the deep shadows and the harsh light. Looking over in front of me now, you can just see this pocket of light sitting on the floor, and you've got this gent taking a photo of the Shard over the Thames, and there's this really cool pocket of light, so I was trying to play on that to try and create a focus for the viewer, and you get this really nice edge light on the guy that's there, but then these really deep shadows from the bridge to staircase, and it creates for a lot of texture, but it helps to draw the focus of the viewer to what you're actually drawing their attention towards. So just taking a look about for some different framing opportunities, using the frames from the stairs to create some frames within frames. With it being quite busy, it's just waiting for some clear moments to get those shots, but then also trying to frame subjects or waiting for moments where there was fewer subjects on the stairs so it looked less chaotic. And I touched on this in a previous video as well. That split-second decision between when you choose to take the shutter can make all the difference in how a shot is perceived. And you can choose to capture it with all the people or none of the people. And you as a photographer has that option. And a split second can make that difference. So in my previous video, I was taking a shot of this guy, and it was so busy with people walking through. But I was able to capture a shot one with nobody around him, and then another with everybody around him. And the feel that the shot, or the feel that it gave the shot, was such a stark contrast. And it's sometimes, I think we can forget as a photographer, we kind of just go out and press the shutter and try and capture the shot, and then we move on to the next one. But sometimes just slowing down, taking that moment to pay attention to what's going around you, and you can get more of the story and tell more of the story of what actually you wanted to portray. And for the final part of this video, I'm just going to flash up a few extra images that I got on the walk that I didn't get any POV footage for. There's some really cool and interesting images in here, so I just thought I'd share them in a quick slideshow, especially some of these with the phone boxes and using them to frame subjects. And so that's it for today's walk around London. I hope you've enjoyed tagging along. Drop a comment, hit a like if you've enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more street photography and photo walks. Next time, we're going to be taking a break from the daytime photography, and we're going to hit in the streets of London at night. And with all that said and done, I'll catch you in the next one.